Greetings, sending you all some warm, positive vibrations. This is Body Culinary, aka Kwasa Peaceful Eating. First of all, our journey throughout our life, and part of our journey includes exploring expressive with our features, with clothing as a form of expression, and using our bodies as canvases of art. Whether you have piercings, whatever you decide to wear, how much skin you decide to wear, that's really your prerogative, right? And we are all at different spaces and places along our journey. So I don't want to make any of them bad or wrong. Yet I think it can perhaps be helpful to be self-reflective. And if you are perhaps someone that um, is curious about or prioritizes how what you are ingesting on social media and how you are interacting with others, how it is affecting your emotional health, your emotional and mental stability, right? Then valuable, right? And I don't have the only perspective. You're always welcome to Body Culinary. I'm a professional chef, a personal trainer in health and fitness for over 35 plus years. I'm a natural born woman with a womb. Now, shout out to you, whatever your creative expression is. I can respect everyone from all different walks of life, and quite often encounter and work with people from every different uh, package, social, economic, cultural, and religious background. And I'm constantly learning from all of us human beings out here. Um, I love a lifestyle that is natural, or as natural as I can get in this environment that we are in. On this channel, I share some of my journey of radical, what I would call radical self acceptance. And what that looks like and what that has looked like for me is celebrating and being really creative with the features that I have been divinely assigned, right? My hair and my skin, basically. My wide Africoid nose. Yes, my very, very kinky, cottony hair that has resisted all the chemicals I've put into it. And so my height, um, my genetics. I that you can't necessarily see, but there's a mindset, one of being preoccupied with keeping up with the current trend, which somebody else is setting the tone for what's trending, what we will purchase. These trends are often triggered by the marketing and the messages that are working with our brain, right? With folks that are marketing to us, understand how to trigger different emotions, and also to trigger actually the primal fears, which level the playing field for all human beings. And we've spoken about those primal fears, human fears, on this channel before. And they are, let's see if we can remember them: fear, fear of illness, fear of old age, fear of loss of love or never finding love, fear of criticism. Did we said no, always forget one. Illness. Oh, illness, death, loss of love, never finding poverty. That's the other primal fear. So these are fears that we all have, whatever packaging you come in, wherever you are on the globe, and they are primal fears. So they will trigger certain types of behaviors. When you are frightened or scared, children will lie, people will lie when they're scared for their lives, or if that's signaling the pictures that you're getting or the things you have experienced have left you with information which your brain is processing. I need to get myself out of harm's way before I get taken out or before I perish. They're fears, right? And a lot of the laughing, smiling, entertaining social media is actually indirectly triggering a lot of these fears through our subconscious, through memories, right? We're usually trying to avoid pain, death, and embrace lots of pleasure. A lot of the pleasure is often to nothing wrong with pleasure in a safe context, but quite often we encourage and triggered to embrace pleasure in lieu as a substitute for resolving trauma. That's the only thing there is in life. That's not release, right? Because to only ingest sweet, that's not real life. Newsflash, that's not real life. Even say that folks that have been on the receiving end of extensive complex PTSD, long periods of trauma, or one dramatic or traumatic event, PTSD, it is a setup to be given, not set up in a good way, to be given substances to calm us down or to affect the brain, especially those that are toxic to our nervous system and to our organs. It's a setup to get someone who has unresolved trauma, alcohol, drugs, um, fake foods, because they tax the system. They're non nutritive, I would say they're negative nutrients, and they don't get to the heart of the issue. They don't resolve the trauma. They're making you feel a chemical response of dopamine. They have you trip out in your brain or into the movie screen of your mind, but it actually doesn't help you talk through or work through your fears or your triggers. So it's a setup to give someone who is extremely traumatized, who has been on the receiving end of trauma, a substance to resolve something. Now, let's use our common sense. Do lots of stress used up when we are under stress, right? So we're coming out of college and out of trade schools. We're being trained to be effective workers, but we're not really understanding our psyche, our psychology, what triggers our behaviors, what triggers our mindless consumption, what would seem to be mindless. When I say mindless, meaning we're not present to the effects, the negative, right, damaging effects of the substances we're taking in that have us feel some kind of cerebral or some kind of quote unquote pleasurable chemical reaction in the brain, but that is actually aging us, robbing us of our vitality, depleting our nutrients, right? And it's not solving the problem. It's not helping us put our trauma into a context so that it's resolved. So it's not going to make it disappear, but so that we can move on with our lives, right? So now, can you articulate this as six setup? It's a setup, and unfortunately, it's not until we reach our more wisdom years or after we've done some damage that we have a frame of reference of practical experience that we can realize a lot of the things that we're being sold or marketed to, or things that we're being given to solve problems, are actually creating 5 to 10 more long-term problems than they're solving. And that's a mindset. So beauty has it become a prison, right? If you are enjoying the content that's on this channel, which will usually center somewhere around sharing my journey of being creative with this nappy kinky hair, or the 3 leverage lifestyle practices, a daily personal movement practice because it is so deeply therapeutic and you can apply it to yourself, and also garden slash nature therapy. These are lifestyle practices that are investment, especially in your time on the internet, that's going to give you back so much more for the investment of your time, your energy, your focus, and your attention. You're going to get something back, right? Especially when it comes to discernment. You can't touch it, but it's driving your decisions, right? And so to be self reflective about what is driving our decision making process actually is like a really valuable distinction. Distinctions make a huge difference. So feel free to like, comment respectfully, and subscribe to the channel. Perhaps it's been really, really chilly, and now it's starting to get. Whew, I really prioritize ease and comfort in my own hair and my skin, and even in my clothing. That is actually a core value, something that's really important to me. So, what do you think? Has beauty become a prison? Do you ever check in or get quiet enough, especially in the wee hours, to notice your internal dialogue, right? And your internal dialogue, what's the what I would call the undertone, the feeling, the internal emotions? Can you notice how you're feeling about the language, the dialogue, the conversation, that your own thoughts that you're having with yourself? Is there a feeling of anxiety or desperation or sadness, joyous, if you have all these accoutrements and all dads? Do you ever check in to notice what is your internal conversation? What's the tone? What does it feel like? How is your mood affected, right, by what it is that you have on? If it doesn't if it doesn't cost a certain amount of money, if it doesn't have a name on it, so another human being's name who you don't even know, if it doesn't have their name on it, if it's not modeled after a celebrity or what they're selling, how do you feel? Can you notice or discern how you feel when you are, and we all mimic as a species, we mimic and we copy. Can you notice how you feel when you do have or when you don't have these items, when they get old, or if you get caught out in the rain and you're pressing curl. I remember when I was coming up and it gets wet. How do you feel? Is that significant? How you feel about yourself, right? How do you feel if your hair is broken off in the back, if it's not of a certain length? And in your mind, what's the thought process? What are you comparing it to give yourself information about how you should feel? If it's short and if it's broken off, if it's kinky or if it's nappy, what are you comparing it to come to the conclusion that I'm quote unquote that I'm not attractive? And what does that mean? I'm not attractive. Am I not acceptable? Am I ostracized? Am I going to receive less protection, less fair treatment? Will I not be included in the reindeer games? Will I have to play with my